Welcome back to the Deck Forge, where I craft commander decks. January can be a bit tight for cash, so I thought it would be a good idea to build a deck exclusively with commons. Now, I often get a bit of flack from my pod for playing what they lovingly call good stuff decks, so this time I wanted to challenge myself and build something that couldn't be argued as too strong, at least on paper. That's when I started digging into Pauper Commander. If anyone unfamiliar, Pauper EDH has slightly different rules to regular Commander. You can use any uncommon creature as your commander, and every card in the 99 must be common, or have been printed at common at some point. To keep things simple, and to avoid rules confusions, I decided to stick with legendary creatures anyway. That's when I found Malcolm, Keen-Eyed Navigator, and Breeches, Brazen Plunderer. Malcolm is a 3-mana 2/2 with flying, and whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to an opponent, you create a treasure token for each opponent dealt damage. Breeches is a 4-mana 3/3 with menace, and whenever one or more pirates deal damage to an opponent, you exile the top card of that player's library and can cast it this turn. The really important thing here, and what makes this deck work, is that neither of these abilities care about combat damage. Any damage will do. That's where the deck's main plan comes together. Step 1. The Pingers. At the heart of this deck are what I like to call pinger creatures. Cards that deal small amounts of damage repeatedly. The cleanest example is Reckless Fireweaver. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Now remember Malcolm. If Reckless Fireweaver is a pirate, that 1 damage to each opponent creates 3 treasures, which then enter the battlefield, triggering Reckless Fireweaver again, and at that point, the game is effectively over. From there, we expand into other pingers that work in slightly different ways. Cards like Sunshot Militia, Ingenious Artillerist, and Peregrine Strongball will all win on the spot with Malcolm, and care about artifacts entering or being sacrificed. These pair incredibly well with Malcolm because the treasures he creates immediately fuel their ability. Then we have the spell-based pingers: Firebrand Archer, Keswick Flamebreather, Erebor Flamesmith, Gutter Snipe, Thermo Alchemist, and Unruly Catapult. These triggers whenever you cast non-creature spells or instants and sorceries, which is why this deck leans so heavily into cantrips. We'll get on that later on. On their own, these creatures are just annoying, but once they become pirates, they turn Malcolm and Breeches into engines. Step 2. Turning everything into pirates. Of course, most of these creatures aren't pirates naturally, so step 2 is making sure they are. Image Crafter is one of the cleanest options here. It taps to change a creature's type to whatever we need, pirates included, as long as it's not a legend or wall. Amoeboid Changeling fills a similar role, letting you change creature types at instant speed. Then there's Rune Stalactite, which is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's cheap, searchable, and simply gives the equipped creature every creature type, no questions asked. For one-shot effects, we also run Blades of Velasvel and Wings of Velasvel. These are fantastic during combo turns. Your pingers suddenly become every creature type, pirates included, and that's all we need. Once a pinger is a pirate, Malcolm and Breeches take over from there. Step 3. Tutors and finding the combos. Yes, tutors. Yes, in Pauper. The secret weapon here is Transmute. Cards like Dizzy Spell, Muddle the Mixture, and Drift of Phantasms let us pay their transmute cost to tutor for any card with the same mana value. Dizzy Spell, being a 1-drop, finds key type-changing effects like Image Crafter or Rune Stalactite, as well as 1-mana interaction when needed. Muddle the Mixture is one of the best cards in the deck. At 2 mana, it can grab Reckless Fireweaver, Amoeboid Changeling, Sunshot Militia, or even Blades of Velasvel, meaning it can find either half of the combo. Drift of Phantasms rounds things out at 3 mana, tutoring for cards like Ingenious Artillerist, Tandem Lookout, Trinket Mage, or Ophidian Eye, depending on what the turn demands. This redundancy is what gives the deck its consistency. Step 4. Cantrips, Card Velocity, and Storm turns. Once we're set up, the deck wants to keep casting spells. That's why we run a huge package of cantrips and draw spells. Brainstorm, Oct, Ponder, Preordain, Consider, Peak, Gitaxian Probe, Impulse, Behold the Multiverse, Lorien Revealed, and Treasure Cruise. These smooth our draws early, dig for combo pieces mid-game, and during storm turns they actively fuel our pingers. Cards like Tandem Lookout and Ophidian Eye also shine here, letting us draw cards whenever our creatures deal damage, which keeps the engine running when Breeches can't guarantee playable spells from our opponents. Step 5. Protection and interaction. This deck is absolutely a glass cannon, so protecting the combo is non-negotiable. We run a tight interaction suite including Dispel, Spell Pierce, Counterspell, Arcane Denial, Negate, Lose Focus, Pyroblast, Shore Up, Intervene, and Dispersal Shield. These aren't here to play a long control game. They exist to make sure that when we go for it, you actually get there. Because let's be honest, Malcolm is a 2-2. He doesn't survive a stiff breeze. This deck is fast, fragile, and unapologetically linear, and that's exactly why I love it. Yes, it's technically Pauper, yes, it's budget, and yes, it absolutely punches well above its weight. It probably lands somewhere around higher power bracket just because of how efficiently it combos. But with only commons in the deck, it's hard to stay mad for long. So what do you think of Pirate Pingers? Are there any Pauper cards you'd slot in? Or spicy tech I've missed? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what comes out of the Deck Forge next. And as always, happy crafting.